Happy Thursday, November 16th. I want to show you my new digs. I got the Parker Cote. It's the new Stratajack. It's known as R-Jack or R-Jerk. And this is a company that was based, I don't know, I guess in China and I guess in other places. And the company almost went out of business. But you can get this beautiful Parker Cote that I'm wearing. It's Dow Feather. And it was $60, but it's well worth it, and it's keeping me warm. So this year I got the proper gear because 3 years ago in 2021, Joyce Lee, and that's Priscilla Chan's mother, she stopped my unemployment. I had $2,000 in my unemployment insurance account, and she cut me off my unemployment insurance account, and I couldn't get my pandemic unemployment, and I couldn't get a winter coat. So this year I got it early. I got a winter coat early, and I got a good one. This is a good Parker, R-Jerk. And, I have a link for it. I recommend it. I also want to show you some other good digs. I have a nice jacket, another sports jacket that I bought. And I have these pajama pants and the shoes that I bought from Burlington Coat Factory. And also the Ruster is one of my favorites for underwear. And so, I want to tell you about what's going on with the Courthouse. I'll get to the point now. So, it seems to be coming from Stamford, Connecticut, and Shelton, Connecticut. This is Alan Stanford, who shrinky-dink my brother-in-law, Larry Moran, and my first wife, Karen Teresa Castrino-Cono. And also my second wife, Mariana Caval, who has a relationship with Dr. Joe Biden, Joe Biden's wife. And Larry Moran, who has a relationship with Lawrence D. Rubin, the 2nd District Court of Appeals supervising judge. And also other very important people, including Warren Buffett and Mike Pence, other very important people. So what's going on here is that they have hijacked the California courts. You have Regine Dominique Shelton, Connecticut, Lipsig. You have Anthony Gubitosi, who became Eduardo Garcia. And you have Alan Stanford. And you have Leroy King. You have Dave Gentile, Santa Gentile, Charlie Munger of Warren Buffett. And they have created an antitrust monopoly with Carol Murray, Bill Murray's wife, actor, of AT&T that required a divestiture in the 1970s. They have a similar antitrust monopoly going on where they have hijacked the California courts. And for example, they have hijacked the California courts, and there has been a data breach with the CVS pharmacy, which is related to Gavin Newsom also, and also Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan, because they have this pyramid Ponzi scheme going on where they're robbing unemployment insurance. They're getting political contributions. They're using their own trading profits, and they're making it look like the military is giving them a venture capital investment. This is all securities fraud and insider trading that's going on. Priscilla Chan, I believe, has already been incarcerated. Mark Zuckerberg will be next for securities fraud. And so what's going on here is that they have an antitrust monopoly going on. And if I try to get justice, for example, Joyce Lee stole my unemployment insurance. And I'm trying to get justice for this. And also, they accuse me of being a vexatious litigant. There's been 13 different capital punishment crimes committed against me. They murdered my 4 children. They butchered my 2 stepchildren. They took all my money. They're financially suffocating me for the last 7 or 8 years. They made me homeless. So I'm a computer engineer. I was the best computer consultant in the New York metropolitan area. And they took all my money and made me homeless. They should have just killed me along with my kids, And so what's going on here is that I'm trying to get justice. So I go to the California courts, and for example, Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan stole my code. I was working on youloveme.com. I was working on People Friends. I'm the one who created the idea of monetize my fame, monetize your fame, get paid to socialize, get paid to date. I had all these concepts I was working on youloveme.com. and people, friends, and they stole my Visual Basic Code, VB.NET code, and they turned it into Facebook. They're running on my VB.NET code. They're running on my stored procedures, my database. So really, because Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan have been incarcerated, I should receive all of their stock shares, and I should be the new owner of Facebook. Because they stole my code, they stole my database, they stole my stored procedures, and they've been incarcerated. And on top of that, they're making profits. They have income for Facebook, and the Facebook income is nothing more than fraud because it's not real income. It's money that they're stealing from the murder business. And I'm trying to get justice by going to the California courts, but they have also hijacked the California courts. For example, they accused me of being a vexatious litigant. They stole my U.S. Census Bureau job. They stole my house, my 8,500 square foot mansion house. They stole my IRS $1,300 stimulus checks. They stole like 5 or 6 IRS whistleblower checks for Lane Carver and Joseph Hebb and Stephen Whitlock and Leedy Martin and Debbie King and Santa Gentile. They stole, and Monique, who stole my lawsuits here and gave it to the Orange County Judge Glausner, and made it look like they're from LA County and Edward Roybal Courthouse. They stole my lawsuits. They stole my IRS whistleblower checks. They stole my Cadillac. They stole my Lexus. They stole my U.S. Census Bureau job. I actually got a job with the U.S. Census Bureau job. They even stole my U.S. Census Bureau job. I went in for the fingerprinting, and they're saying ID.me. They stole my unemployment insurance. They stole my DPSS. They're saying that I'm not the Leo Cohn. I am Leo Cohn. I can prove it with my fingerprints, you know? So I'm trying to get, the moral of the story is that I'm trying to get justice in the California courts. And they accuse me of being a vexatious litigant for the last 3 years, and my hands are tied. I have both hands tied behind my back because every time I submit a filing through Journal Technologies or True Filing, they are rejecting my court filings, saying that I'm a vexatious litigant when I'm not. There's 13 capital punishment crimes, including murder of my children, and grand larceny of my wills and estate, my inheritance, aggravated identity theft, and they're saying that I am a vexatious litigant because they're stealing my lawsuits for pay-to-play criminal racketeering that William Barr was arrested for, and also Xavier Becerra, the former Attorney General, and Rob Bonta's in on it because I found out that Michael E. Whitaker is Rob Bonta's shrinky dink, and Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, is stealing my lawsuits now. So what's going on here is that I cannot get justice and my hands are tied. I filed a notice of appeal against Elaine Mandel, who's really Pamela Davis. And Pamela Davis is related to, her name is Davis, so she's related to Alan Stanford, and she's related to Mark Zuckerberg, Phil Chen, Joyce Lee Pyramid Ponzi scheme. And they're all being arrested now. The U.S. attorney is cracking down. They're just busting everybody. You know, make America rich again. And so they're just busting everybody, but I'm still homeless. Like, I should have been paid my commission. I should have been paid billions of dollars for the money that they stole from me. They didn't pay me. I should have been paid a commission for my current work because I'm working 100 hours a week. They should have paid me a commission for my work. I should have been rich already, but instead I have zero money still, and they're using me like a guinea pig. They're using me like Michael Vick's dog. They're using me like the junkyard dog, and they keep me hungry, they say, but I want my money. But no, they won't give me my money because they want to keep me like the junkyard dog, and it's not really fair. You know, so the other thing that's going on is that they won't give me justice, and I filed a notice of appeal. This Eduardo Leonel Rosado, who's really like Mark Marzagliano from Palisades Park, New Jersey, and I also went to Lindbergh Elementary School. Lindbergh, you know, what does that tell you? So what's going on here is that he won't let me file a notice of appeal to take my case against Elaine Mandel and Richard Refkin, who's really shrinky-dink Cory Booker from Newark, New Jersey, and really shrinky-dink Kamala Harris. And so they will not let me file a notice of appeal. And there is F. Mendoza there, a clerk from 2nd District Court of Appeals. He rejected my submission that I filed a complaint with the California Judicial Performance Council, Judicial Performance Committee, where I filed a complaint against the judge, Elaine Mandel. Really, her name is Pamela Davis. Her real name is Ivana Trump. And I filed a complaint against her, and they're rejecting it. And so I'm reaching out to Gregory Dresser, who's supposed to be like in charge of the review committee, who's auditing the California courts. He's not really responding either, so I sent him a letter. I created a filing called a letter, and this F. Mendoza rejected my letter. I told him that you cannot reject a letter because it has a 2-year term. If you look at the California Rules of Court, it tells you that you have up to 2 years when the case is closed. But this idiot who's at F. Mendoza, this idiot who I think is part of like the Nicaragua, the Contra, what do they call it? The Contra from El Salvador. These are like la cooperación that are trying to hijack the California courts again. This idiot is rejecting my letter to Gregory Dresser and rejecting the letter that I'm asking him to allow the perpetuation of testimony, which is a declaration of due diligence, where I'm saying that, look, I filed a complaint against Elaine Mandel, and I want it to stay for the record, whether my case is closed or not. I want this to be perpetuation of testimony so that my accusation against Elaine Mandel, Ms. Davis, and Alan Stanford still sticks because of the arrest of the U.S. attorney with Antigua, and also the other arrest with Perfectus Aluminum with Saram McEvoy. I'm not just talking out of my ass here. I have criminal case numbers of indictments with Alan Stanford, of Jessica Garcia, Amanda Garcia, Jamie Dimon, Alberto Diamante, who's planting crack cocaine in septic tanks with Albert Tottoli of Upper Saddle River, New Jersey, who's like an architect. It's like into the new Bank of America septic tank meth business. And so like I have criminal case numbers of David Gentile, who's been busted with GPB Capital, Santa Gentile, Leroy King, Alan Stanford, Mark Zuckerberg, Priscilla, you name it. I've arrested all these people. Believe it or not, I even put Donald J. Trump in jail. Believe it or not. I'm better than Elliot Spitzer and Elliot Ness put together, but they still won't pay me a single penny for commission because they're keeping me like the junkyard dog. And I cannot get justice in the California courts. And I even filed a response reply to F. Mendoza, the clerk there. This is an answer because he rejected my 2DCA true filing. And I sent him a legal document that I filed called a response review in replacement to a letter. The response review is a response to F. Mendoza telling him that you're out of line. I have 2 years to file things. On top of that, my case was dismissed without prejudice, so I can file declaration of due diligence whenever I want. You have no reason to reject my filings. He says, your case was closed, I'm rejecting your filing. And he did that like 3 times in a row. The other person who did this was Jed Jimenez. I locked her up. Like Elliot Ness and Alan Spitzer. I put like all the Spanish people from South America that are responsible for La Cooperación, I locked them all up. I locked up Jimenez, Jed Jimenez. I locked up Rosalva Reza, Kathy Morales, Daniel Morales, and now there's like the last person in Stanley Mosk Courthouse, which is our Ennis. She was incarcerated. David J. Cohen, he was incarcerated because he accused me of being vexatious litigant. Now there is his shrinky dink who took his place, David W. Sleighton and Michelle Williams Court. Anybody can be a judge at the Superior Court of California, including a Negro from the Ivory Cote of Africa that has absolutely no judicial experience other than her shrinky dink is Michelle Williams, and she's like some fake divorce judge on television. She's an actress from the movie Empire, or from the TV show Empire, and she calls herself a supervising judge, Michelle Williams Court, who has been incarcerated. I'm still being accused of being vexatious litigant. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to file a preliminary injunction against David W. Sleighton, the CEO of Stanley Mosk Courthouse, Superior Court of California, and I'm going to file a preliminary injunction against Michelle Williams Court because the preliminary injunction is going to give me the right to stop their criminal accusation that I'm a vexatious litigant and my filings will not be rejected anymore. And I'm going to get the California Highway Patrol to enforce it. And if the California Highway Patrol wants to play cutesy with me, you know, if they want to play squisito, they want to play cutesy and they don't want to enforce it because of Gavin Newsom, then I'm going to reach out to Jonathan Cantor of the U.S. Attorney, and I'm going to reach out to the Secret Service of the White House. I'm going to get President Joe Biden involved to see if he wants to enforce it on a 25% ADR mediation fee, which is totally legal as long as you pay taxes. And then I'm going to get the National Security Agency or the Defense Intelligence Agency, and definitely I'm going to bring in the Department of National Intelligence and Brian Nelson, and ultimately it's the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and also Jonathan Cantor and the FBI. So, you know, I'm filing a preliminary injunction now to stop this madness with the California courts. And I certainly hope that Jonathan Cantor, I hope you do your job, because I'm getting the California Highway Patrol to enforce it. And since you're part of the review committee, you better be doing your job, man. I'm telling you. Because the California courts are hijacked, and there's an antitrust monopoly going on that requires a divestiture similar to the 1970s, where if we conduct a search and seizure and get this racketeering enterprise to pay for the divestiture, we can get like $4 or $5 or $6 trillion to make America rich again. And this is what I'm talking about. So I'm here at Perry's. This is where I hang out. That's the Attorney General building. I actually should be in that building.